Hi, I've done quite a few changes recently to my macro setup, which you see here, um, and I thought I'd share some of those with you, and hopefully some of it will at least will be of hopefully of interest. So, first of all, an easy thing to start off with is this, or these. I've got two. Now this is a Godox LED 36, which you see as 36 LEDs, pretty good description. Little light, as I say, I got two for the price of one, actually, as they were half price. Very simple, two two AA batteries in there, an on-off switch and a power brightness setting. So that's switched on. There we go, that's at full brightness, so we dim that down. Very simple. Now, in addition to that, it has these four, I suppose you'd say, sort of cold shoe plates or slots one on either side, so it's modular, so you could actually clip more than one together. In fact, it comes with each one comes with its own little adapter at the bottom there to enable that. So you could use it as a video light on the top of the camera's hot shoe connection. I've also fitted these. I actually just had them. I bought them for another purpose. These little Manfrotto plates. I can't remember the actual model number, but they're just all little plates in it. Because I haven't got a lot of room here, it's a small setup, and so I haven't really got room for tabletop tripods in this setup, or any sort of other stands for lighting or anything. So these little lights, mounted like that, mounted on these little Manfrotto plates, give me the ability to angle them and adjust them a little bit. Okay, so I've done a lot with the ring flash, which is this unit here. The ring flash is designed to be powered by four AA batteries, so 6 volt, and clip onto a hot shoe on the camera. It has two modes: ring flash or flash, and the other mode is LED lighting. Now it comprises of two banks of LEDs in two semicircles, so you've got that kind of arrangement, left and right banks of LEDs. So one thing I noticed, I knew about straight on. In fact, let's put it another way. Two things I should have done, and that with hindsight, when choosing a unit. This is cheap, it's effective, but it's got two failings. Two things I should have looked into, or thought about, but they probably come at a price premium anyway. But one thing is the ability to run it off some form of mains adapter if you're going to use it like this. And two, variable, a finer degree of variable light output. But I found my own solutions for both of those issues using this unit. First of all, I went over from using the AA batteries, alkaline batteries, whatever, to rechargeables, which is fine. Of course, it's cheaper, significantly cheaper, but it doesn't address the issue with going through batteries really, or at all. The thing that eats the batteries is the LED mode, or light mode as they call it, because of course that's constantly on, and it's so you get through your batteries pretty quick with that. In flash mode, not so much so, because of course it's, unless you're using lots and lots of flash exposures, but even then, you know, it's momentary, fraction of a second. But if you're running this thing and it's set up and you're running it for quite a few minutes at a time, or whatever, it's going to eat up through batteries. So my next move was to, you can't actually see it in situ, but basically what this comprises of, this red and black cable here that are running from the unit, is at one end of that cable, the opposite end to here, is a standard USB connector, which means like you can power it off a power bank, or maybe one of the mobile phone type charger adapters. 5 volt USB. The other end replaces the batteries, and it comprises of 4 dummy batteries, 3 completely dummy batteries with no wires attached, and 1 which has a positive and negative connection, and they go in place of your batteries. 2 important notes: I stress in place of your batteries. Do not, underlined, mix them with batteries. Do not put ordinary cells in at the same time as this arrangement. The other thing is, when you are powering it, make sure you don't power it off of anything that's greater than 6 volt, because that's what it's designed to work in. So you should fry it. Probably the best case scenario is to fry it. I wouldn't want to do it. I say greater than 5 volts because if you're using a mains adapter designed for USB, then 5 volts is what you're going to get. And 5 volts is a bit obviously lower than 6, so the light output will be marginally less. But that doesn't bother me at all. But let me turn it on. So I added these little coloured sticker dots to help me distinguish quickly between one and the other. Right. So that's on, and it comes into flash mode. And if you hit the mode key, it will go between flash, L and R, the L and R being the 2 semicircular banks of LEDs. Or you can go to light mode, just hit the light button, which I shall do. Okay, so there's the light mode. Now that's at 0 setting. Now there's 3 other settings either way, -3 to +3. So let's go plus first, +1, +2, +3, so it's getting brighter. And if I go back -2, -1, back to 0, and again through the minus settings, that's at its dimmest setting. That's at its dimmest setting. What I'm doing is I'm running it on, this is my last idea, to handicap this business with the brightness, because when it's running off 5 volt, let alone 6 volt, the brightness from this thing, given the proximity to the thing I'm photographing, is actually too bright, significantly too bright. In fact, it's even probably a bit bright on the way I'm doing things now, but it's significantly better. Next, I had another mains adapter. This one differs from the other one. I.e. it's not a fixed 5 volt. This one is adjustable voltage. It will go from memory, it goes 3, 4.5, 5, 6, 7.5 perhaps, I can't remember, 9 and 12. So it's a standard multi-voltage DC mains adapter, but it comes with one of the interchangeable connections on it is for USB. So had I just connected to that, I could have set it to 5 volt and it would have been just the equivalent to using it on the other adapter. But it's got 3 volt and that's what I'm running it on. Now that's half obviously of 6 volt, so it's half, I won't say it's linear and it's half the brightness, but it's still significantly less less bright, or dimmer would be a better way of putting it, than it is with on a 5 or 6 volts input. And so that was my last solution. So it's to get around this issue with the brightness, because previously what I was doing or having to do quite a lot of was actually to put in some exposure compensation to deal with burnt out highlights in things. So I've just picked an object to photograph. I'll set up. The other thing about this is upside down, so of course you've got to think about which way you're moving it. Left is right, right is left, up is down, and so on. Now that's focused, and the reason it's focused is because I've pre-focused it. So let's there you go. So it's now out of focus, as you can see on this monitor quite clearly up here. What I've done various what I regard as useful things to the camera settings to suit my taste. And the first one, you've kind of sort of seen it working, and that's the manual focus magnifier, which you can set up on the Olympus camera. So every time you turn the manual focusing ring, it puts it into a higher magnification. And if we look at the monitor up there, keep going, whoa, is that sharp or what? Okay, there you go. No, oops, sorry, not tripod. So now it's all nicely in focus. So that's one thing. Another thing linked to that in a way is changing the focusing point, because I've assigned another one of the function buttons on the front here for easy access to just that, i.e. to move the focusing point. So if I go to press that button there's your focusing zones, and if I now do that, I can change. Now that's useful obviously, because if you find something that's pretty uniform, but you can find an edge or something. Now I put it over the U and the S there and the lettering, so now if I adjust it, there we go, it's pretty much where I left it, U and S. Okay, so that's that. So that's another button function button I've assigned to something that I use a lot of. Another thing, I don't think I mentioned this, but it's reset lens. Okay, because if you're photographing something like this or a series of objects, and you know you're all about the same sort of focusing height, and you want to just turn the camera off and go and have a cup of tea or something, come back, and you don't want the camera to have refocused when you switch on again, if you don't want to turn the camera off in between. And by disabling reset lens, you get around that. So if I switch the camera off now and I switch the camera back on, it's going to be focused exactly the same points where I left it. So that's another thing. Custom white balance. I've assigned a button to that as well, because that's a useful thing to have, to be able to easily quickly set up a custom white balance for if you're doing anything that's sort of colour critical. Now on there's two things, more things that I've done here, well, three actually. First of all, there's the monitor, as I mentioned. Now that is connected from the camera's HDMI port, but not directly. It's connected via this unit here, or this little box here, and that is an HDMI switch. It's actually a three-way, but I'm using it as two-way. Two inputs, one from this camera and another one which is connected up but not connected to a camera. There we go, another one of the Olympus type mini HDMI connectors, the standard connector cables, and that is so I can use that same monitor with another camera, like perhaps the one I'm using to film this. So that's that, so that's the HDMI setup. Also got the camera powered off a power supply, because it's well, two reasons. One, it's going to be on a lot of the time. It's going to go through a camera battery pretty quick. Two, to get to the camera battery is a nightmare the way I've got it set up, because it's in the grip at the back. So I don't really want to upset too much just to change battery. So there's two benefits to that. Now I'll take a picture. Let's just do that now. I've got it on 2-second well, it's not anti-shock, it's actually silent shutter with a 2-second delay, and that's to obviously avoid any vibration. And you can actually see the highlights that are still actually a bit burnt out there, even with this lower brightness. So if you can imagine what it would be at twice the brightness as a minimum brightness, is what I've got it on, were it not for reducing the input voltage down. But anyway, so going back to as I say, to I mentioned the monitor, and I've also just talked a bit about the power side of it. Now another thing that I've got connected here, and it is connected to this 2-second delay. I could, as opposed to a 2-second delay, I could fire it up via, of course, a cable release. But I'm not doing that. I'll turn the light off for a second. I'm not doing that for one simple reason, and that is, when I've got a monitor connected, as I have, and I want to, it will actually disable various camera features. They're greyed out in the setup menu. some of which are pretty useful in macro work, like focus stacking, focus bracketing in general. So it disables those. So what I've done was I've used that port on it, the USB port on the camera, to connect it up via a suitable cable to the computer, where I'm using the Olympus Capture software. Now as soon as you use the Olympus Capture software, i.e. fire up that USB connection at the computer, it will disable the HDMI port. So you won't be able to see anything here, or I won't. But that doesn't bother me. I can't be looking in two places at the same time. This setup with the monitors it is fine for the sort of thing we're doing here. But if I want ultimate control of the camera, and by ultimate control I mean you can control just about everything in that software. The capture software will enable you to change the settings I mentioned that you can't change it otherwise with this monitor on, i.e. focus stacking, focus bracketing, but just about every other setting that you're likely to want. You can manually, remotely focus. You can change just about all sorts of parameters, so just about all the parameters you're ever likely to really want to use from that software. So that's why I've got it set up the way I have. So there we go. I mean, as far as the monitor goes, dropping back to that quickly, it would be an absolute... Well, I can't... Obviously the EVSF is useless because I can't look in there. The LCD, yes, it pivots and switches, but it's still very awkward to see what you're doing. So having a separate monitor like this, I find to be really useful. Okay, so I think that more or less runs through everything. I hope that you found some of that interesting and perhaps of use. So best wishes to you all, and take care. Bye for now.